Hello, everyone. This is Mike from Dimensional Walking, and today we're going to do a video on an interesting place in Australia. And we're going to call this one "Unveiling the Secrets of Woomera." What an interesting name! Weapons testing and UFO encounters and more. So we are going to talk about this place. It's in Australia. It's close to a little village out there in the outback, basically. It's located in southern Australia, approximately 450 kilometers northwest of Adelaide. Okay. And it was established in 1947 as a joint venture between the British and the Australians. Okay. And this location wasn't chosen by accident. It was because it was so isolated in this vast desert that's in southern Australia, provided this perfect environment to stay away from this all this testing that was going to be done there or was done there at the time when it was established, because it was so remote. And basically, because it was so remote, it was sort of like, again, it sort of to me has this flavor of Area 51. And because it was, away from everybody, and they were doing testing on various things, and we'll go through some of that. So originally it was used for testing of the British atomic weapons. And I think there was like 12 or so detonations between 1952 and 1963. Later, the focus changed from missiles, from atomic detonations and testing, to missiles and space exploration, okay, which primarily ended up being the British program at the time. But, the United States was in a mix there a little bit. Of course, Australia was in the mix because it was their land. But, Australia being part of the British Commonwealth, well, that was pretty unnatural there for them to help out, considering they had this fairly good sized continent that the British could test whatever they wanted to test on. Um, so there is this kind of chilling legacy, and a lot of it had to do with the nuclear testing that the British had conducted, because basically the landscape, of course, with dropping atomic bombs or detonating atomic bombs, if they're underground, for the most part, I believe these were underground, raised some really environmental questions that the people of Australia didn't like at all, it seems. Um, but the story doesn't really end there, because then it became a launching pad for rockets and satellites, and basically to this day is playing a role in space, the space race to get things up into space. Okay. So again, a lot of this testing that I'm talking about, the previous testing, was because of the Cold War between, the West basically and Russia. And so there was all these tensions around the Cold War, and that fueled a lot of the stuff that was happening at this particular facility. And there was various, again, the missile development, the missile programs that were developing intensified the concern among the Australians that this base, even this facility, we'll call it, even existed in Woomera, Morara. Okay, got it. I think I got it now. I hope so. Anyways, um, so the other thing that was happening there was that there was numerous UFO sightings around it. Okay, very similar, I guess. We'll go back to the Area 51 thing. And of course, some of these sightings, it's not known if they were actual UFOs and aliens, or these were actually just technology, new technology that um, a man was developing out there at this particular facilities. We'll never, I guess, we're not going to know that for sure. Um, so there was this numerous sightings around, and it was seen by many. And there was abduction scenarios going on in and around the base area. Again, it was still quite a ways away from main populations, very similar to Area 51. So there was always this major debate, was it UFOs or was it military technology? And this has gone on for a long time. One of the more interesting little stories that came out of this was if you remember back in 1978, there was this Kecksburg incident in Pennsylvania where this bell-shaped object, if I remember correctly, crashed and they actually recovered it. And there was a lot of hoopla about it. And one of the things that somehow this facility got mixed up in was they claimed that the Americans recovered this place in Pennsylvania. It was a crash. Uh, and what they're saying, it wasn't a UFO. It actually was a satellite that this facility had sent up there for the Russians, and it ended up crashing in Pennsylvania. So it was really complicated because remember, as I just told you, this site was created originally because of the Cold War, and that would be the West against the Russians. Well, all of a sudden, it looks like, or at least the theory was, that the Australians slash British, mainly the British, were actually sending up possible satellites for the Russians, which ended up crashing in the United States. So anyway, so that was a little weird twist, a little sidebar I wanted to bring up that I heard about years ago, and I don't know how true it is, but that was the first time I heard of Woomera. Woomera. Anyways, I'll probably get it all wrong. It's probably pronounced completely different. Um, anyways, so there was always this difficult separating fiction from the truth because of these secret bases that are again all over the world, including here in the United States. So the veil of secrecy surrounding space activities for decades makes it difficult to assert the truth that it has transpired over the years. Now, in addition to all this, just recently, and let me see, when was it? It was March 23rd, 2024. So this isn't that long ago. In fact, about a month ago, there was this UFO sighting, pretty profound one. It's a multi witness sighting, including some amateur astronomers, and they saw a fast moving cigar shaped, and this is right there, very close to this facility, cigar shaped object streaking across the night sky. The object reportedly changed directions abruptly several times before disappearing. And this apparently was a big deal. Uh, the Australian officials remain tight lipped about the incident, but some, of course, will speculate that it may not have been a UFO. I mean, it may not have been a military technology, but an actual UFO, because they had never seen before the way this thing maneuvered and its ability to basically turn corners, go left, right, and stop abruptly and take off. They had never seen anything like this before, even though they had seen other things that may have been technology from the facility there. So, anyways, just thought I'd mention that. Anyways, it's a very interesting place. Again, it reminds me of Area 51 in many ways, but it's the Australian version, and the British are obviously running the show down there. And I'm sure our CIA and some other places, very similar to Pine Gap. Everybody knows about Pine Gap, but this is one that was kind of it's off to the side a little bit, and nobody really talks much about it. But I thought I'd bring it up today. Hope you enjoy. Take it easy. Bye bye.